The European humanitarian search and rescue organization called SOS Mediterranee has asked the French Maritime Authority to assign a safety port to disembark up to 234 survivors stranded on board its ship, the Viking, in the Mediterranean Sea. Now, the call for the French was necessitated after Italy failed to respond to an early request for assistance. The situation on board the Viking is said to be dire and could potentially lead to loss of lives. Moses Mendy again has the details in this report.
The Viking, a search and rescue ship operated by SOS Mediterranee, a European search and rescue organization operating in the central Mediterranean Sea, on Tuesday sent out distress calls to France to allow it to disembark a group of more than 200 migrants rescued at sea between October 22 and 26, but to no avail. This latest group to be rescued has within it 40 unaccompanied minors and 4 children under 4 years old. The group was saved from unseaworthy and overcrowded boats, often used by people smugglers to ferry migrants to Europe. The request for French assistance comes in the wake of an earlier plea for help from the Italian authorities, which was not successful. For a smooth coordination of rescue efforts, the central Mediterranean is being divided into Libyan search and rescue region and the Maltese search and rescue region. There are also various maritime rescue coordination centers in France, Spain, and Greece. All of these, according to officials of SOS Mediterranee, were contacted by the Viking to help with the 234 survivors because they were the nearest rescue coordination centers able to give the needed assistance in light of the refusal of other rescue coordination centers earlier contacted. Frustration is mounting for the humanitarian organization, which says it has followed protocol, but it's up to the other parties to the international maritime conventions and resolutions to fulfill their obligations. Under these conventions and resolutions, a state responsible for a search and rescue area is obligated to find a place of safety for disembarkation in Chapter 3, which states, "The party responsible for the search and rescue region in which such assistance is rendered shall exercise primary responsibility for ensuring such coordination and cooperation occurs, so that survivors assisted are disembarked from the assisting ship and delivered to a place of safety, taking into account the particular circumstances of the case and guidelines developed by the organization. In these cases, the relevant party shall arrange for such disembarkation as soon as reasonably practicable." The ascension to power of a new right-wing prime minister in Italy is not helping matters. Giorgia Meloni seems bent on cracking down on migration across the Mediterranean. The SOS Mediterranee Director of Operations, Xavier Lot, said he is worried over the condition of the migrants on board the Viking as their medical team is beginning to see signs of acute psychological stress, anxiety, depression, insomnia, and loss of appetite. These effects, he said, are developing because no one on board seems to see an end in sight to this saga. Xavier Lot also said, "Some migrants are threatening to commit suicide by throwing themselves overboard." He feels that the level of anxiety on board is a potential threat to his crew. The decision to seek French assistance has sparked a war of words between France and Italy, with the former accusing the latter of failing to honor our obligation under the international maritime conventions and resolutions, because as the first country to be contacted, Italy had an obligation to respond favorably to such requests. It is clear that Western European countries are no longer in the mood of receiving any more irregular migrants into their countries and will use all means at their disposal to frustrate humanitarian organizations such as SOS Mediterranee from carrying out the noble task it has set itself to doing. According to Nicola Stalla, the search and rescue coordinator on board the Viking, Maritime and humanitarian laws were blatantly violated in Sicily when rescued migrants were subjected to discrimination. The NGO vessel Humanity One and Geogrants had docked in Sicily, but a safe and complete disembarkation was denied all survivors. These vessels were then forced out of Italian territorial waters, where 3 survivors jumped overboard, the Geogrants, on Monday. As at the state of filing this report, the fate of the Ocean Viking and her cargo of migrants hung on the balance. Moses Imende, Eyeafrica News.